What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to this top 10 countdown here on my channel of my top 10 regens over the last 3 years of WorkTheSpace. This is going to include regens from YouTube saves, Twitch saves, and Twitter saves. If there's any players that I've missed off this list that should be in this list, let me know them down in the comments. Let me know what your personal top 3 are from all our various saves. If you do enjoy the video, smash the like button, and without further ado, let's get into the countdown. Coming in at the number 10 spot is Saud Awad of Oxford United in the year 2077. This was a save that I streamed over on Twitch for a number of years, and Awad here was one of the best youth prospects we ever produced at the club. He actually genned as a Kuwaiti international and went on to play for the club for 9 years over the course of the stream save, averaging a 7.38 average rating, getting 79 goals and 73 assists. He also quite memorably switched allegiances to join the England national team, where he went on to make 57 caps and 31 goals from attacking midfield, aged only 23. Coming in at the number 9 spot is Pablo Badiola of Lincoln Regens. This guy joined my Gibraltarian FM14 side for £4.2 million from Sporting and was one of the first foreign players I ever managed to buy. He went on to make hundreds of appearances for the club, averaged almost 2 goals every game in the league, which was absolutely incredible. He also went on to take up Gibraltarian nationality and switched allegiances, and for the international team, which I also managed, he made 64 appearances and scored 45 goals. He single-handedly spearheaded my Gibraltarian team to Champions League group stage success, and for that, I'll owe him big time. Coming in at the number 8 spot is a player that I knew if I didn't put in this countdown would result in a riot in the comments, and I guess for a lot of you guys, you were perhaps wondering where he'd fit into this whole conundrum. The player, of course, in question is WorkTheSpace of my Oxford FM14 save in the year 2077. This guy was my son. I trusted him. I gave birth to him. He came out, I tutored him, got him to 20 determination. I had so much faith in him. And truth be told, he was bloody awful. He barely ever broke into League One sides that I sent him on loan to, including Leicester, Villa, Leyton Orient, Notts County and Bolton. We also called him up for England once, where he failed to make anything happen. It is worth noting he did once score for Great Britain in the Olympic Games of 2076, but besides that, he'll live long in my memory for all the wrong reasons, for being a player who I tried so hard with, but always ended up being a disappointment. In at number 7 is Cole Cliff Brown and my Lincoln Regens save from Twitter and Twitch, of course. This guy was another player like Badiola who went on to play for Gibraltar, having originally been English and having resided in the country for long enough took up nationality. The reason he is so high up in this list really is because he was such a massive influence on my Regens side. If you look at the team history and his average ratings, he averaged above a 9.0 average rating for Lincoln Regens, which is completely unprecedented. I doubt I'll ever see a player do what he did, as for 5 consecutive seasons he got in excess of 20 goals and 20 assists in under 14 appearances, which was the total number of fixtures in Gibraltar. Like Badiola, he was an important component of my save, one of the main reasons I was able to progress through the Champions League group stage, and he'll live long in the memory for being a legend at the club who served under me for 14 years. Arriving perhaps slightly prematurely to the party is Eric Sinogo of Lewes FC, a player who I'm sure for some are surprised to see him only getting number 6 in this countdown. The Ivory Coast international was most known for his hair, but turned out to be an incredible box-to-box midfielder for us. He served at Lewes from our championship days, arriving for £400,000, and was a massive component behind our Champions League winning season. Eric Sinogo perhaps deserves to be higher up in the list, but to be honest, I couldn't justify putting him ahead of a few fan favourites coming up. In at number 5 is a player that even now, I'm incapable of saying his actual name, but he'll be fondly remembered by me and perhaps some of you guys as Miko, and he's the penultimate Oxford United player here in this countdown. Now, on the face of it, what you're seeing is an absolutely incredible centre midfielder, but this guy was so much more than that. He joined the club at 20 years old, became club captain at 23, and was a rock in the midfield that saw us reach numerous Champions League finals. He was a fantastic leader for the team, a loyal player who stayed at the club for over 10 years, and for that, I'll always be grateful. He might not necessarily be a fan favourite, but for me, he's one of the unsung heroes of my many saves. Coming in at number 4 is a player that I'm guessing for many doesn't really need an introduction, and to be honest, I don't think any introduction I could do would truly give him justice. It's the one, the only, Conor Curry. This guy, of course, played for Wolverhampton Wanderers in our FM14 beta save over on Twitch, which I stream pretty much 24/7 for 2 straight weeks, and it's still one of my favourite saves to this day. Now, Conor Curry, on the face of it, for people not familiar with him, will seem a little bit bland. You look at his career history, nothing really stands out, but this guy got goals that saw us reach the Premier League, and it's not so much for his performances on the pitch than the impact he had off it that I'll remember him. Conor Curry will always be a legend because of his name. In the beginning, the only reason I signed him was because while sifting through Regens, Twitch chat saw a player called Curry and were adamant that we had to have him. And from there, numerous jokes, memes, laughs were had because of him. He truly was a fan favourite and a player that to this day shows that you don't have to be a great footballer to be a fan favourite. Coming in at the number 3 spot and bagging himself the bronze medal is none other than Jimo Lourenco of Oxford United. You'll notice with my remaining picks, they are all strikers, and it's quite easy, I think, to warm to strikers, and Lourenco was no exception. This guy just scored goals for fun. His wacky hairstyle and the fact he was Mozambican really made him stand out in the dressing room. He was a great presence to have, and he spent 10 years at the club. Coming in for £8 million originally and scoring 13 goals in his first year, he looked like he was going to be a fantastic buy, but in his second year, grabbing just 1 goal in 22, I seriously considered selling him. I'm glad I didn't. I stuck with him. He grabbed 182 league goals, including a record 36 goals in 38 games with 14 assists in the 2073-74 season. And without doubt, Lourenco is probably the best Mozambican regen I'm ever going to have. When it came to choosing between my number 1 and number 2, it was so hard. But at number 2, I've gone with Jean-Christophe Peyrard. This guy, 21 years old. I believe that's how old he was at the end of the save, and that really is testament to just how good he was. I have no doubts that if we'd given him another 10 years, he would have been top on this list. But the French striker played for my FC United FM13 save. I think he was the first truly legendary regen in any one of my saves here on YouTube, and even to this day, I'd still argue he's the best kind of complete forward I've had in any football manager. He was fast, he could finish. He was absolutely insane for us. He made a difference. He was the reason that FC United went from being a struggling mid-table Premier League side to Premier League winners. In 6 years at the club, he got 92 goals, and with a fee of only £7.5 million, he turned out to be one of the best bargains I've ever got. He also made a massive difference for France, winning the European Championships and World Cups with them, and becoming the World Cup top goal scorer in the 2026 World Cup, aged only 18. He also won the European Golden Boy on 4 occasions, World Golden Ball on 3 occasions, World Player of the Year on 3 occasions, and Best Player in Europe on 2 occasions. Without a doubt, Jean-Christophe Peyrard is one of the most decorated regens I've ever had, especially at the measly age of just 21. So my number 1 pick is really not going to come as a massive surprise to the majority of people who have been on this channel a while. If you're not familiar with the Lewis save, let me introduce you to the one, the only Matthew Lewis. This guy, I don't know where to start with this guy. I've played Football Manager in the Championship Manager series for over a decade. I've never had a player like this. I never will probably have a player like this ever again. 26 years old, you probably look at his stats on screen and go, well, he's okay. He doesn't look that great. 26, great. England international, great. I've seen a player like this before. The thing that makes this guy special is just his story. That is a big thing about my channel, is the story element. And Matthew Lewis's story is just incredible. He regened as a free agent, which occasionally happens in Football Manager, and it means that a player's PA and CA are fairly random and can vary massively. Now, because he was English and because he was gemed as a free agent, his rep was tiny, and somehow I managed to convince him that a move to Lewis FC in the Northern Premier Division was a wise move. He joined us. He tore apart the leagues. He got us promoted back to back. And then we ended up in a situation where I had an offer from Newcastle which I couldn't refuse, and I sold him for £3.3 million. And I tried to loan him again and again, year on year, couldn't get him to join us. He wasn't interested. And then we managed to get him on loan finally in the year 2019 when we were in the Championship. And we took him on loan for another 2 years. He banged in goals for fun, and miraculously, there was an agreement put in place that he could sign for us for £5 million, just £1.7 million more than what we'd received for him 8 years prior, for him to come back home and come back and play with us. And since then, I mean, I'm never going to have a player as good as this guy. I'm not. He is on another planet. The story in itself is crazy to have a player who did what he did. Gend as a free agent, we managed to get him to come to Lewis. We managed to, get him improved a little bit, sell him on. He came back. But then the fact he got 51 league goals in 37 games in 2024-25, I mean, that's just ridiculous. He got 90 league goals across 2 seasons, which in itself is crazy. But then the thing that again sets him apart is I think back to the big games he's had. The game against Barcelona where we were 4-1 down after the first leg away from home. We'd got that away goal. We needed to score 3 goals and overturn this deficit. Who steps up? Matthew Lewis grabs a hat-trick in the Champions League quarterfinals against Barcelona. Makes a difference there. I believe he scored 3 hat-tricks in Champions League kind of knockout stage games and ultimately got 2 goals, I believe, in the final against PSG to win the entire thing as Lewis. I mean, that in itself is crazy. He turned up for the big games. He was a fan favourite. He had this story. He was a striker. I mean, looking at his biography, just the stuff he won, it's just an incredible story and an incredible adventure, and it kind of, I think, epitomises a lot about what my channel's about. And as I said, I've not seen many stories like his. I've seen similar ones, certainly on forums over the years, but I guess because I've experienced it, because you guys have got to see the videos of it, I think it truly kind of brings the whole story a bit more to life. And yeah, I'm never going to have a better player than Matthew Lewis, I don't think. There is no doubt in my mind about that. So anyway, guys, that wraps up my countdown of my top 10 regens. I wanted to balance these out. Some of them are picked because of how good they are in terms of their attributes. Some of them are for the story. Some of them are for kind of, the whole, what went around with them and kind of, I guess, their legacy here on my channel. I hope you enjoyed the countdown. If you did, this video did take a little while to dig up all my old saves to get the screenshots for you. I'd appreciate it if you left a like. As I said at the start, leave a comment. Let me know your favourite player from all my saves. Maybe it's one who's not on this list. Maybe it's Hunso or Zeus from my first Pentagon challenge. There's loads of players who could have been on this list and weren't, and I'd love to know your personal favourites. But yeah, that is all from me, guys. Thank you so much for the 3 years of support on my channel. Thank you again for 40,000 subscribers. I did a vlog talking about all of this. I'll try and remember to link it down in the description. And other than that, guys, it is me, Jack. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.